what happens when somebody doesn't follow through on their agreement.
So it's a good one. And I'll go to a little sideline here. Is one of the things that worked wonderfully for us at Motorola is we used to sign contracts with one another all the time. And what we do is if we sat in a meeting room and made an agreement, before we walked out, and again, in very simple terms, Gary's going to do this, Mike's going to do this, George is going to do this. And it always had to be a specific action by when, right? And the expectation is either you went off and did what you were expected to do, or you got a hold of all the people you made the agreement with, let them know what the problem is.
Right.
And if you can instill that type of behavior, these written documents and the signature means a lot. And a lot of companies, it doesn't mean anything to make an agreement in a conference room and walk out and basically trash what you just agreed to do. It depends on the culture of the company. Again, I know you grew up I don't know about growing up, but I know you worked a long time in GE. That kind of behavior wouldn't have been tolerated. Right. You made an agreement, you were expected to keep it, right?
Right.
And you were expected to rally the people around you if you couldn't keep it. And so it's got to be part of the deal. But, having people sign off on things and then having behave that way, it's a difficult thing. It's where, again, a person like, and again, you know the people that I hang out with, but a person like a Mike Carnell or a Rich Schroeder are invaluable because we need somebody that's brave enough to go take a risk of, we're basically, this is what we agreed to, this is what's happening, what are we going to do about it? Because if we allow this to keep going this way, we're going to disengage. And you've got to be willing to do that kind of thing because it's, at least for us, we do this as a passion. We make money at it, by the way. But we are not going to do something that we aren't proud of.
Right.
And so you've got to have people brave enough to go in a skillful way. And again, I will tell you that all three of the people that I mentioned, including myself, have learned to do it in a more skillful way over time. But you got to have people who are willing to engage and call people's hand where they don't keep their agreements.
Yeah.
It's a difficulty. You don't have any actual leverage in an organization. You're a consultant. You can be let go like now, right?
Right.
So it's a fine line. You can't just not let something happen, but you also can't just get kicked out because you go wild on them. And so it's walking the fine line. But again, it's what in my mind make the best consultants. You got to be willing to challenge. You got to be willing to not just go in and trash the person and walk away. You got to go in there and tell them what's wrong with the behavior and talk through with them. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing in the world, especially if you got somebody you're passionate about. We get a lot of bright people. The best part of the job for me is all the bright people we get introduced to, and we can change the way they think about business for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of passionate people there that are basically getting stymied by people not keeping their agreements. And so it's hard not to go in there and be overly passionate about your support of those people. And you got to learn to walk the line. But you got to do it. You got to be willing to challenge. You got to be willing to walk away. You got to be willing to. I don't care if your title is executive VP. I don't care if your title is CEO. If they aren't meeting their agreements, to go sit down and talk to them and explain what you're seeing and what can we do about it. It's got to happen.